Okay, Furu, Mahafsoun, welcome to Iblis Manifestations. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
You mentioned to me when we were talking, you said you haven't done a podcast before. Is that correct?
Not that, yeah, I can't recall having done a podcast before. No, I don't think I've ever done one. I think you might be my first podcast. Yeah.
Well, look, it's my honor, if
Thank
anything.
you so much.
I've been really looking forward to having you on here, and there's a number of reasons for that. Obviously, you and I we very much share a background, and I think we're even from the same city. You from Tehran as well?
From Tehran, yeah.
From
Yeah, I
Tehran.
grew up in Tehran.
Um,
Directly from Tehran to Vancouver, stayed the whole time.
That's amazing. So, I think I have known about you and your work. I'm gonna take a rough guess, probably about 13 to 14 years.
Damn.
Okay. So
Damn,
I've
that's a long
actually,
time ago. Wow, wow, wow.
yeah, yeah. And I think that we've both kind of been in the similar spaces for a long time. Somehow we never crossed paths before, but better late than never.
That's true. And you know what? All everything that happened in Iran, all the devastation recently has brought actually a lot of us closer together. I've been pretty much mutuals with a lot of people that before we didn't really talk. We just, we knew of each other, but afterwards, we're now talking, we're collaborating, like we're actually like, oh, you were there the whole time. Yeah, like it's
Yeah,
good. It's good like that. It's brought us closer
absolutely.
together.
I think it has done. You know what? There's a lot because okay. If this is the first one, there's so much stuff that I want to kind of talk to you about here.
Let's go.
But but you know what? Before I get into it, I do want to take a moment on the record to say thank you. Okay, and I'll explain that. Look, there's a lot of different people with the whole situation with Iran who've been obviously putting their heart and energy into the Lion and Sun revolution, and myself very much included in that, going onto the streets. But I feel like with someone like yourself having a platform that kind of appeals to an alternative crowd, you kind of break through to a lot of people, non-Iranians, that wouldn't necessarily be exposed to some of the information, at least, that we have been screaming from the rooftops about for the
Yeah.
longest time. And I
Mhm.
know how hard it is, and I know how much pushback you can get for this and how much we're kind of backed into a corner. But I seriously commend the attention
Thank
and
you.
the passion that you've poured into this since January. So just wanted to say
Oh,
thank you on the
thank you
record.
so much. Thank you so much. That's nothing, absolutely nothing. Like this is literally, I kind of feel embarrassed because this is the least that I can do.
Mm,
This is having a platform is uh it's a blessing. If you're not using it, then why do you even have it? What
mm,
is the point in anything? People say like I'm more in the alternative world. People are always saying like um you have like goth is alternative, or goth is political. You have to be like aware of what's going on. Yeah, it is. And you know that's what I'm trying to do as well, to kind of make my audience aware. So it's the least I can do. Thank you so much. And I wish there was more that I could do. I wish I had um the ability to do more things, create art about it. But in a way, I've also been a little paralyzed as well. It's very, all of this has been very like emotionally and mentally draining. So the m- the most I can do sometimes is just repost other people's amazing work, videos that they've made, art that they've made. A lot of times because I myself feel a bit powerless. Like I don't have the strength to do it. So I'm grateful for all the things of all the things that I'm posting that other people are making, that they spent time making, and such as yourself. I'm grateful that there's people like yourself that create um, work for me to share a voice. So thank you so much for doing that.
absolutely. Absolutely. So let's bring that to so for anyone who's listening, let's kind of take a look at your background and how you first got started. I think the first I ever heard about you was, and we'll kind of get to the Iran stuff down the line, but I'm really just curious to know a little bit more about how you got started with the whole belly dancing and then combining that with metal thing. I think that probably the same as a lot of people, the first impression I had was sort of like the Moonspell crossover.
Yeah.
So just tell me about it. Like, how did you actually end up getting into that? Because it's a very unique combination of things and
Thank you.
subcultures.
Thank you so much. I was definitely not the first person to mix metal and alternative music to belly dance. There were people doing that way before me. But in around 2007, I started learning a lot about ancient Egyptian spirituality and how belly dance fits into that. At the same time, I was falling in love with metal music and alternative music. That was basically all I was listening to, and I wanted to dance. That was my favorite music, and it just the body moved with the music that it liked to move to, right? So that's pretty much how it started. And from there on, I just really just focused on that. Like I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to mix metal with belly dance and keep doing that. And everything else just grew around it. I reached out to bands. I didn't even think they would even read the messages. I did. I just reached out to a lot of them and I was like, hey, this is what I do. Would you be interested in having me perform with you? And it just, snowballed from there. And here we are.
That's amazing. How long ago did you start belly dancing?
2007 was the first time I
That was the
started belly
year.
dancing. Yeah, 2007 was, yeah, the year it all started. And 2010 was when I took it to the internet. That's when I started making videos and just really focusing on it.
That's amazing. Because when I look at belly dancing, okay, I'm a fitness coach myself, okay, and obviously being a Persian, I think dancing kind of runs in our blood, like to me,
Yeah, it
it's
does. Mehmooni.
Mehuni, yeah,
All the
exactly.
Mehmoonis we grew up with, yeah.
Yeah. All you gotta do is just stick on a bit of 6/8, and then like the hips start moving. But
Yep.
um, but when I watch what you're doing, I look at that and I think you have to be able to project a high level of confidence to be able to do that. But then the next level to that is to then actually want to pop it on the internet and share it with the world. I mean, that must have been nerve-wracking, but then when I look at what you're doing, it seems quite natural. So I'm just trying to understand a little
It
bit the
wasn't
process
nerve-wracking
behind
at
it.
all. It
Right.
wasn't nerve-wracking. The thing that makes me really nervous is usually just actually performing, like going up on stage and performing. That part is a little nerve-wracking, but uh, I wanted it so badly. I just really wanted to share what I do so badly with the world that there was no nerves in it. It was just me posting it and just being so happy that the video was up. And even if it got one comment or one like, I was like, wow, that's one person who was watching it. So it was mostly just excitement, and I was very delusional too. Now that I look back at a lot of the videos, I was a lot younger. The videos were very DIY. They were a lot of it recorded in the forest alone or in my bedroom. So, it was like I just didn't really care about like how it looked or how professional it was. I just wanted to do it and get it out there. So yeah, that's kind of like how I remember it. I wasn't nervous or worried about being judged or uh, I never like even it didn't never even occurred to me that the metal world would find it like offensive or anything. And they never did. Like they were very accepting of it. They were like, "This is pretty cool." Like it was always a pretty soft, like a pretty soft, nice ride, to be honest. It's a really good combination. Like metal people are so cool and so open-minded. So I always felt very like I never felt judged by that part of the world, if that makes any sense. So I was always it was good.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's actually really nice to hear, and I think that's kind of with any kind of art form, because ultimately this is an art form. Like even if it's like something just capturing yourself in a certain environment, you're creating a sense of a simulation and a reality for someone that they can watch, whether they interact with it for 30 seconds or like 5 minutes or longer. That is an art form in itself. And I think that's always the best way to source something like that, is for it to come from a place of genuine interest, that I really want to do this, rather than I want to do this for like views or something like that. Even though
Yeah.
I'm just like scrolling on your YouTube channel now, and even like the videos from like 15 years ago, which are the earliest ones, they got a decent amount of views on pretty much like all of
Not
them.
bad, for something
Yeah.
so niche. And I never expected the videos to get like sometimes the videos get really great views if it catches on by like a blogger or someone reshares it or something like that. It'll blow up, but most of the time it doesn't because it's so niche. Like it's such a weird little like collection of two things that I really like, and sometimes I add like elements of fantasy to it. And while all of those things on their own are very popular, metal, belly
Mm,
dance, fantasy, all that stuff, but like I never expect it to blow up. So I never do it for like if there's ever a trend that I'm like, oh, it could work, I'll do it. But I don't like chase the trends because I feel like that really takes your creativity out. That takes that passion you have out. Just
mm.
chasing the algorithm is like artistic cancer in my opinion. Not saying you shouldn't know and learn what your audience likes, but chasing that has never really been my inspiration, to be honest.
No, you're 100% right, because that, in a way, essentially kills the authenticity of it. And the great thing
Yes,
is, when it comes from a genuine place, it's not following trends, but it's got the potential to create and start new trends,
true.
which
Very true.
you probably have done at points. Um, do
I hope
you,
so.
yes. um, do you remember your very first interaction with like one of the bands
Oh
that
yeah.
was like, oh yeah, let's make something of this? Please tell me about it.
I do Moonspell. Oh my goodness. Moonspell was one of the first like
Yeah.
experiences that I really remember. Amazing guys. Like very similar. We just sat in the same room and we immediately vibed. Like they were like, "Oh, what costume do you have? What do you have in mind?" They just gave all creative freedom to me and it was incredible. Yeah. It was definitely like surreal, but also made me realize that that's a world that I do want to be a part of. I do
Mm.
love um, the chaos and the creativity and the pain and all the hard work that comes to one like 3-minute performance.
Hmm. Because when you are a fan of music, especially coming from our backgrounds, you'll have like a very specific certain view of bands and people in bands and things. And then when you're kind of on the other side of the stage where you actually get to do something like this, it's obviously a very eye-opening experience, and I've kind of
It is,
as
yeah.
as someone who's in a band and have toured and have done festivals, but also like worked with other bands, and also a lot of the people I've had on this podcast, it really opens your eyes to things. But also I feel like we heavily dramatize things in our culture as well when we look at these
Yeah.
things. I
Yeah,
don't know.
well, artists are dramatic. Like
Yeah.
Fernando from Moonspell actually said to me, he said something in the lines of, we're meant to be dramatic people. We're artists. Drama is part of it. Of course, we're gonna make it more dramatic. We are supposed to feel things very deeply, right? So makes sense.
That's a good one. I find that rather reassuring, if I may say.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't blame yourself for being so like dramatic. It's part of being an artist. That's the whole thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, what was the first time you actually performed live in front of the like an audience?
The first ooh, it was actually not with any bands. I was with a local belly dance crew,
Okay.
and we did I think it was like a Persian event. Maybe it was like right before New Year. We have events in Vancouver or Bedash. It was something like that. There was like a event in Vancouver, and it was with me and I think 5 or 6 other girls, and we did we it was one belly dance number and one bandari number.
Mhm.
But that was my first like as Mahafsoun performing in front of people. But yeah, before that, I can't recall performing. I did like theater in high
Yeah.
school, but
All right,
different.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So did I. I was not quite in high school. I was about 10. I actually did this in Tehran.
Nice.
And
Wow.
yeah, I did theater, and all I
How
used
old
to
were you when you left Iran?
just before I turned 17, I left my family and came over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
really young too.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I came over with a BC Rich guitar on my back, listening to black metal
Wow.
on the trip, knowing that that's the reason why I was coming over, and I'm still here doing exactly what I came here to do. So
There you go.
yeah, there was a lot of opportunities to give up there, but I didn't. And I feel like I would have missed out on a lot of very cool things if I'd done that. So to anyone who's listening right now, maybe this is a good moment to take notes.
That's true.
Yeah. How have you found it? So like with Vancouver, I know that there's a pretty big Iranian community in Vancouver. I saw
Huge.
that.
It's huge.
Yeah.
When we moved here in 2002, it was still big, but not like now. And but no, it's big. It's big. And after everything that we've gone through, it's brought us a lot closer together. I feel like, I mean, I grew up here. I've been living in the same part of Vancouver
Mhm.
since 2002.
Yeah.
And when I moved out of my parents' place, I moved within the like it's like a 5 minute walk away from. So it's not that far. I've been in the same area. And Persians used to be very scattered. We used to be there was no real like community, sense of community here. You know, we were quite scattered.
Mhm.
But after everything that's happened, people are so close together. You know, we notice each other, we talk to each other, we um yeah, it's and it's a bigger community too now. Like there's more Iranians here now too. So Vancouver is it has a huge community.
Well, I saw a lot of the attendance on February 14th back in Valentine's Day, and it looked
Yeah.
insane. Obviously, I had lots of friends of
Yeah.
mine over here who also went to Munich. We were playing a festival in Estonia on the same
Mhm.
weekend, so that's why I didn't actually end up attending any of those, unfortunately. But obviously, still had a few words to share on stage. But yeah, I saw the Vancouver one, and honestly, it warmed my heart. You know, like
It
despite
was
all of the
amazing.
shit and everything that like we're seeing, you know, on social media has just been frying every Iranian person's nervous system for the last 7 months. But but
Honestly, like, we are not the same people we were, like, it's kind of Iranians, I keep saying this to people, like, we know how to look like we're doing okay, that's just part of us, like, we just always like to seem like we're strong and we're doing well,
mm,
but I don't think any of us are the same people we were before all of this happened. Like,
mm,
mentally, I don't think any of us are the same people, like, uh I guess some people are, like, maybe they've been able to, like, close their eyes and cover their ears and not see everything that happened, but the rest of us and on top of that, um, not only did we go through that pain, but some part of the world abandoned us and literally looked us in the eye and said, "No, that's not happening. What you're saying, that's not how it's happening." While we were actually witnessing it, you know? So on top of that, you get the pressure from both sides, you know, going through the pain and then people around you just being like, "Mm, that's not what's happening in Iran." And you're like, "What the fuck?" Like, you open your eyes.
you know what you said just there about we're not the same people that we were like 7, 8 months ago. You're really actually making me reflect on that because I think there's a big deal of truth in that. That's resonating with me more than I even kind of considered it myself. How are you feeling now?
Right now, just kind of up in the air, to be honest with you. We
Mm,
we we never got closure for everything that happened. We never got a chance to mourn. We just cried and suffered over through everything, and we never got closure for anything. We're still carrying on the pain and all the things that we saw that happened earlier in January, and things are moving again. So right now, I'm just
Hey there, I would like to bring this episode to a quick halt for the following message. As many of you already know this, I go by the nickname That Mental Coach. The reason for that is exactly because I work full time as an online fitness coach as well as a personal trainer where I help people attain their fitness goals. Having been someone who was once extremely out of shape and borderline obese, I was able to lose over 40 kilos and basically keep that weight off. And now it is my job to help others achieve the same thing. And I have had many clients from all across the world, all the way from US to Australia to Germany to Poland to the UK, where I'm currently based, where we work together. You don't have to be in the UK to work with me. You can be anywhere in the world as long as you've got specific fitness goals that you want to achieve and you've got access to training equipment, then we can work together. If this is something that interests you, you can use the link on the Trial by Fire website and you can use the contact link to contact me and then I will be in touch with you. Otherwise, you can just send me a DM on any of my social medias. You can use my personal Instagram, That Metal Coach, or you can even send me a message on the Iblis Manifestations Instagram and we'll see how I can help you. Anyway, With that said, hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
Kind of trying to stay calm, like trying to just see what happens. I'm talking to my friends from Iran as well, even asking them, what do you think is going on? And they're like, honestly, like we're just watching now. We're just, what can we do? We're just now, we're in a lot of pain. I mean, the pain that we have here different, but the pain they're suffering in Iran, unthinkable, unthinkable. They're being patient, and if they're being patient, I just look at them and I try to be patient as well, just see what's going on. I don't like to speculate too much because you turn on the news and you hear so many different things, like this person said this, that person said that, this person's doing this, but you have to just focus on what's going to happen, and just focus on what you can do, which is for us still be the voice of people inside Iran, make sure our people are okay, keeping in touch with them, keeping them emotionally and mentally strong, because they need to hear it from us that you'll be, that they'll be okay, and that they shouldn't lose hope. They should just, keep it together.
That's actually very smart take on that, to be honest with you. It's been a tough one. I've been, of course, in touch with a lot of people back home as well. I had people who were like literally sneaking away just to get a spot using Starlink just to send me updates and that kind of stuff. And obviously you see what happens to people who have done that.
Oh yeah.
Like the case of that father. But and look, and I don't want this to be doom and gloom, but look, this is the reality
No,
of
it can be doom and
fucking
gloom. That's okay.
yeah,
We need to
yeah,
talk about everything,
yeah.
it's part of it, right? It's part of the reality. And uh I also feel like with social media, a lot of people might get like tired of hearing us talking about this, but too bad. It is what's happening. Like you want to be ignorant, go be ignorant. But if you want to actually be a part of the world, this is what's happening. You're gonna hear us talk about it until it stops happening. That's just how it is. If it's doom and gloom, it's doom and gloom. But this is reality, right?
Yeah. No, to be honest, you're speaking my language there completely.
It's a bit harsh to say, but like I've
Yeah.
gotten to the point where I'm just like I honestly don't care if anyone's like, I wish you could post stuff like you used to back in the day when it was not all about this. Well, nothing important is happening. Nothing more important than this is happening. This is my life, right?
Mm,
And for you too, you're an Iranian. This is your reality.
yeah.
So you should never feel like bad about talking about it and pressing on the topic.
But one of the toughest things, first of all, you're right on the money there, spot on. The one of the toughest things that I think a lot of us have had to kind of experience is go through these number of months, and obviously you hear all the counter arguments and things like that, which it's tiring when it's people who know nothing about the country giving expert opinions about the situation. But that's more of like a friction. What hurts more is the indifference. So a lot of
Yeah.
people in workplaces, I know I have so many friends in like Germany, Switzerland, other places, who are like showing up to work, and not a single person who's all supposedly for human rights and stuff even bothers to stop and ask, hey, are your family
Oh my
okay?
gosh.
Are your friends all
Dude,
right?
I have a whole story about that, my friend. I went through a major like depressive episode with all of this just because of that, just because of
Mm,
the cognitive dissonance of what I'm actually experiencing. And in this case, it's not like I experienced this once before with the Mahsa Amini movement.
mhm,
The whole world knew what was happening, but it wasn't as global as this, right? I didn't expect a lot of people to be like, "Oh my god, are you okay? Is everything okay?" But in this case, there came to a point where, me personally, like I took some time off from work. When I did go back, no one said anything, not a single word, nothing. Everybody was aware of course, it's all over the news, but no one really, I don't know, maybe they were too scared, they didn't know how to handle it, or they didn't know what to say. But the indifference of like just people that you hear and they say like, oh, we care about this cause, we care so much about this other cause. But when it came to the Iranian people, there were very few people, almost none, that actually came up to me, even just slightly. Hey, you okay? You good? Like, how's your family? Are they okay? And that's a little bit like you feel like you're going crazy because in reality, you're seeing what's happening. You know, every time I opened, you experienced it too. You opened Instagram to get some updates. You just saw dead bodies after dead bodies. It was just nightmare scenarios, and that sticks with you. That will never ever leave you, and like that's part of you now.
Yeah.
And
And really sorry to
other people
interrupt your
were,
flow there.
of course,
There's a
of
very
course,
important distinction I want to make for anyone who's listening. We're not talking about the post-war situation. We are talking about the protests. We're not talking about the
yes, the
war here.
protests. No,
We're
no, no, no,
talking
no.
about
We're
what the
talking
Islamic
about,
Republic did to the
yeah,
people.
we're talking about what IRGC did to normal unarmed Iranians who
That's
went to
it.
protest. That's it. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And IRGC slaughtered our people, and there were videos of it in 4K to see. Like, you could see it. There was no denying in that. It was all over the news. Everyone was talking about it. But yeah, it's definitely the indifference hurts more because at least when people press against you, you know that they're aware of what's happening. At least you know, hey, you know what's going on, right? But when people show indifference, it's definitely a lot more hurtful, and you feel very, very abandoned. You know, it really reminds you where you are in the world, and it's not in Iran. It's in a place where, as much as you love being there and appreciate it, other than your people, no one really understands your pain.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. You know, I mean, of course, the the thing is as well is okay, I guess we can talk about it, but having family members who are there now, okay, let's pay attention to the post-war situation. Having family members who are there that are literally getting like the building block next to them targeted or whatever, speaking to them whenever they did have internet, and then they're literally saying like, "Hey, we're just staying still. We're staying patient. We know that they're specifically targeting these other people, and this is not a great situation, obviously, but we're being patient and weathering the storm because we want these guys gone." Okay.
It's a cancer. It's a cancer. You have to go through the chemotherapy to get rid of the cancer. They're willing to go through
So do you know how many
the
times I've used that same analogy these months? Like
it is
literally,
because it's a great analogy.
yeah.
Because
No,
it's a great analogy. Yeah. You know, when a person goes through chemo, their entire body goes through a form of death, right? Iranians are, and we're not just saying this out of our asses. When we talk to our families in Iran, our friends in Iran, every single one says they're willing to go through whatever it takes to get rid of this regime so that they can just live a normal, simple life. And then you come out here and people are like, no war, no war. And you're like, no, this is not a war against the people. Like, we're trying to explain to actually, like, to Americans, like, let this happen. I'm an Iranian. We want
yeah,
we want our country to be freed from these monsters. We've tried everything, and
yeah.
you see what the regime does. People can't just do this on their own. And that's all. That's a whole kind of warms this topic. Yeah, I can go on for hours.
Which is really difficult because the situation that you have here is the following. You basically have you've got the abuser and then you've got the victim. And then the victim has done everything in their power to try and get rid of the abuser, but they lose every single time. Now somebody else gets involved. Now, whoever's benefit that somebody else has got in mind, okay, we don't maybe we don't know the full intentions. And I think as Iranians, it's okay to admit that. But at the same time, when that other entity starts attacking the abuser, you shouldn't then blame the victims for fucking celebrating after they've been
No.
tormented
Oh
for
yeah, they
37
still do
years.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still do that. People still do that. They're like, I can't believe you celebrated your country being bombed. No, we were celebrating our abuser getting their asses handed to them
Yeah.
by a bigger bully. Do you know what I mean? For the first time, no one else helped us. That's kind of how I see it. We tried it on our own. No one, like, we couldn't do it. We were slaughtered in tens of thousands in 2 days. In 2 days. This has never happened anywhere else. This is insane. Like, when I tell people this, they don't believe me because I just say it They think it's just words. But the IRGC slaughtered tens of thousands in 2 days. They could have done more. They would have done more. And they will do more if this happens again, because they've done it before. They know they can get away with it. We begged for someone to help us, anyone. Everyone turned their backs on us, saying that we're going to let the country deal with it on their own. We're going to let Iranians deal with it on their own. And only 2 countries were willing to help us, because sure, let's say they're doing it all for their own benefit. Of course. Wouldn't you want the president of your country, the prime minister of your country, to do everything for the benefit of your country? Duh, obviously. We know that, we're not stupid, but you're still taking care of our abuser. You're getting rid of our abuser. The thing that's going to end us. If Iranians are left alone with the IRGC will kill every single one. They will go after every single person. Like, they have to be taken care of. They cannot stay in even, it's like a cancer cell. You don't just take care of some of the cancer, because it will come back. You have to get rid of all of it. And I think that's what's happening.
It's almost surreal actually listening to you, because I feel like an echo of my own thoughts back at me, you know, and
because it's the reality. It's the
Yeah.
reality, and we're Iranians, and I understand that a lot of other people don't want to hear these things, or they've heard it so much that it's kind of become like an echo to them. But this is the reality of Iranians. If you want to listen to Iranians, this is the truth you're going to hear. It is that simple.
You made this piece of content that I thought was brilliant when you made one referring to the keffiyeh. And, you know, and with that, it's like whenever I see, okay, like let's say maybe some Arabic person wearing something like that, I'm kind of like generally indifferent-ish to it, you know, I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
do your thing. But
It
then
is,
when
it's
you
part of
see,
your culture.
yeah,
But when I see it in Canada, like a white person wearing a keffiyeh, I personally nowadays, I actually don't feel safe. I literally do not feel safe. I'll say it like that. When I see an Arab person or Palestinian wearing it, it is your culture, girl. Do it. I love that for you. You do you. Like, but when this is just kind of how I feel. It's the reality. But when I see a non-Middle Eastern person wearing it, I know what their beliefs are. I personally don't feel safe around them. In the past, I used to be like, whatever, but now that I've seen all of these keffiyeh wearing non-Middle Easterns holding up the picture of Khamenei and the IRGC flag, I'm gonna preserve my safety. I don't feel safe around these people. Simple as that. It might sound a little mean, but I really don't care. Like, that
well,
is the reality of
it's
it.
not,
We didn't escape Iran to come to Canada to be surrounded by this, by like non-Middle Easterns with all of these radical beliefs wearing the keffiyeh in our faces and literally going out of their way to abuse us here. Like, I'm sure you've seen it happen in the Free Iran protests or the Free Iran rallies. Them coming with their keffiyehs, covering their faces like they have something to hide. They know that their beliefs are quite shit, to be honest with you, that they hide everything, they hide our identities. Whereas the rest of us normal Iranians, we're out there with our full names and faces. Like, yeah, this is, if you're hiding, you're already hiding. Like, I have so much to say about this. And you're waving the IRGC flag, you're holding up the picture of the basically the Islamic Nazi, like the Hitler of our time. And you want us to just think you're peace, love, and rainbows? Like, crazy stuff.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the craziest things about it, you know, obviously, so with a lot of my own work and especially in Trivex, I'm not shy about going after Islam. I'm not shy about going after the thing that has literally ruined our country, you know. And by the way,
Why
I
be
think,
shy? We grew up with it.
yeah,
We grew up with it. People use the
yeah.
term Islamophobic as like a weapon.
It's
You
an
know, you
oxymoron.
can't.
It's not even real.
Yeah. You can't call us Iranians that were raised with we were basically raised Muslim, if you really think about it. Whether you practiced or not,
No,
you were
literally.
Muslim.
Yeah, you by
Yeah, you
force.
were. Yeah, in my school, when I was going to school in Iran as a child, not only was I wearing a full ass hijab as a kid going to school, but also there was a whole class to learn the Quran, to understand the Quran, to learn how to do namaz. Like all of that was shoved down our throats. So you can maybe call a white person Islamophobic, a person who's never been touched by, maybe you can call them that, but don't bring that shit to us. You can't bring that to us. Like we were born with that. We were allowed to criticize it. We It was part of our lives, unfortunately. So if anyone's allowed to criticize it, it's the Iranian people. And yeah, that's just what I have to say. And I really don't care if it offends anybody. No one around me has really been offended by it. It is what it is.
No, to be honest with you, just for the record, like the people who are at least the recurring listeners of the podcast are fully aware of my thoughts on the matter, and this like so this is not a like this is something that I do touch upon quite frequently, but not just that, but also in the lyrics of Trivex. I mean, our last album, we had the album was called The Great Satan, but then on the front cover we had a picture of Khomeini with the
Yeah.
picture with the skulls of children around his neck,
Yeah.
and there's like songs on there like Operation Ramadan, which is actually Mamuriyat Ramazan, which is
No.
actually which actually goes back to
Nice.
the Iran-Iraq war, and these psychopaths were fucking sending children to the minefields.
Yeah.
And to be completely honest with you, Furu, like for me, I actually the Islam problem of Iran to me is not just the last 47 years. Like I have a
Mhm.
historical problem with it. Like the last 700 years, the amount of
Yeah.
shit, like this whole idea of Islamic golden age that they keep taking credit for, that's all thanks to
Mhm.
Iranians. That
Mhm.
shit fucking boils my blood. They did so
Mhm.
much to oppress us of our original religion. If anything, I think all of these guys over here in boys and girls in Scandinavia who are all about like their pagan heritage and everything, if anything, they should fucking understand the situation in the context of Iran.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You would think. You would think that
You would
they
think.
would be the first to understand, but uh I don't know. I don't know. There's a brain worm that has infected the world nowadays, where when it comes to Iranians talking about this, somehow we're we're always wrong. We're not allowed to criticize this. Like I don't know,
Or
there's
Mossad
a and
agents.
we're Mossad agents. We're Mossad
Yeah.
agents. Oh, I wish I had $7,000 extra each time I protected
I'm
my
doing it for
country.
free. I'd love to get
I
tipped for
would be,
that.
yeah, I'm doing it for free. Hello. I'm doing it for
Yeah.
free.
Fuck the Islamic
Um,
Republic.
yeah, fuck the Islamic Republic, and I shit in Khamenei's grave.
Mhm.
You always have to say that. Ridam to Qabr Khamenei. Every
Read out
day,
the
every
Bible.
day you wake up, Ridam to Qabrish. You gotta wake up, see the sun shining, and just say Ridam to Qabr Khamenei.
Mhm.
Start your day like that. Your internet connection will be very strong, and that's what we say to our friends. We start all of our WhatsApp calls with like Ridam to Qabr Khamenei, and then it'll keep your internet strength.
It's the morning
But
mantra. You're setting your
it's the
intentions for
morning
the rest of the day.
mantra. Exactly, exactly. But yeah, they just call you Mossad agents. They just don't really like to listen to us. But the thing is, the issue for me, the issue that I have is the rest of the world, like good Muslims, normal Muslims, should also be against this, because this is not giving them a good look either. What the
100%.
IRGC is doing, I have no problem with Muslims. I have no problem with anybody. You do you. I have a problem with IRGC. I have a problem with their way of Islam. It's not it. This is not what the world needs. And if somebody is a real Muslim, if they're the kind of person who says, well, there are good Muslims in the world. Yes, there are. And you guys should be standing up against this too. You should be standing up against this, because this is taking credit away from you, good Muslims, you normal Muslims. This is giving a bad name to what you love and what you preach. But that's not what's happening, unfortunately. A lot of times people just hear it and then they want to like not touch it at all with a 10-foot pole. It's uncomfortable for them.
It is. It is. You know what? You make such a good point that the good Muslims should also be on the side of the same cause. I must admit, get I'm very jaded of anything to do with that religion, you know, and the thing that
Totally acceptable. Oh yeah, I
yeah
have my moments too. I have my moments too.
yeah
But you
yeah.
know, like my
I like
inside
your cake
voices.
mixer comment. That one got me. That
Thank
was
you.
good.
I, it wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. I was watching
Right.
2CTV and somebody commented that it looks like a cake mixer and it stuck with me. And it's a cake mixer now. The logo of the IRGC, the IRGC logo, the middle Allah symbol. If you really look at it, it's a part of a cake mixer that you take out and wash. If your audience needs a visual of what we're talking about.
I thought it just looked like a shit onion, but you know what? Cake mixer
It's a shit
looks even
onion.
better. Yeah.
It's a shit onion. It's actually no, yeah, it looks like an onion from yeah, damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it is, you
And it
know.
smells, so you know it's kind of on brand,
And
you
it
know.
smells. It's
Yeah.
a very, very
Mhm.
the IRGC supporters, stinky, stinky, stinky people. Unwashed socks. That's all I gotta say. Masjids are literally the wet towel, unwashed socks. Been there as a kid. I was dragged to them as a child, so I can attest to that. It's
You were.
stinky, stinky.
You were. Um, yeah, look, I think this is like one of those things like that so many people who like to say that they're educated on these things. I had this you know, like I have so many of my own experiences with masjids. Masjids, by the way, mean mosque for anyone who doesn't know, you know, like it's still I think still known in the West as a masjid, but nevertheless, absolute fucking shitholes. And you know the thing that terrifies me the most, Furul, and I have had a similar impression from Canada and Vancouver also, unfortunately, is this Islamo-communist alliance, which for us Iranians is a terrifying thing because that's exactly what ruined the fucking country to begin with. What's your
Mhm.
thoughts on that?
Yep. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Terrifying. And in Vancouver, we do have a lot of people that support the IRGC, unfortunately. Um, and yeah, that's my thought. It's absolutely horrible.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's what ruined the country. Yeah. And Iran, that's what ruined the country. And what you mentioned in Vancouver, Vancouver has actually a lot of people that support the IRGC here.
Mm.
I wasn't aware of that actually myself. I thought there's a lot of us and there's no way that there's any of them, but I've come to learn that
Mm.
yeah,
A lot of it
there's
is
a
also
lot of
thanks
them
to
here.
TikTok and the algorithms, and then you also look at like who's behind that, who's funding that, and then you also
Mhm.
look at how the algorithm, like let's say in the case of TikTok specifically, how that algorithm is managed differently over in China versus over here in the West, and even in the advertisement for it. And then it's like, well, no wonder it's birthing these kinds of individuals. You know, I don't think a lot of people are inherently bad people. I don't observe humans that way, but I think that you will be a lot of people tend to gear their identity towards the information that they have been served with. So let's say, for example,
Mhm.
for yourself and I as Iranians, our information is based on personal anecdotal experience and not just of our own, but our families and our extended families. So that's why we have a very different viewpoint of this. And then at the same time, when you've got these fucking cunty TikTok influencers that are going all the way over there and you know, like getting videos on the same streets where our dear and beloved were shot and killed, saying, "Oh,
Don't
we're
get me
here
started on that.
celebrating this shit."
Well, those are all
It's yeah,
funded. Those people are all funded. We all know that I
yeah,
mean, IRGC's got so much money. All the money that could have gone to just making lives easier and better for people inside Iran,
our money, by
gone
the way,
gotten
our
reward.
money.
Our money, our family's money, is all going towards that. There's a whole department and people that look out for these crazy leftists, basically that are willing to go get flown to Iran, get paid. What is it? Bushra Sheikh is one of them. That
Yeah,
she's
what a nasty cunt,
every now and
honestly.
then, absolutely big Bush, uh, constantly in Tehran spreading bullshit. And there's smaller creators too. I can't recall it by name, but there's a lot of Instagram influencers, TikTok influencers with massive followings that go to Iran and talk about Khamenei like he was some hero when 95% of Iranians despise this creature and everything that the IRGC is. Like I mean, it's not surprising, but yeah, it's horrific that all of this money is being spent to lie and spread propaganda, and it makes our reality harder because Iranians were screaming from the top of our lungs like this is happening to us, this is happening to our families in Iran, and our platforms are not as big as those influencers' platforms. And unfortunately, some people see that first, and that's going to be their impression. That's kind of it, and also they lie about things that these people that believe them, it aligns with their beliefs. You know what I mean? It really reinforces that the shit that they already believe in, let's say like Hamas being a good thing, this reinforces their belief. They're like, oh, IRGC supported Hamas. I like Hamas. Go IRGC. Like, you know what I mean? It just aligns with their the shit that they already believe in. Because if an Iranian goes up to them, and this has happened to me, I've gone up to, I'm in the alternative world. Most people are left leaning in that world. And people that we followed each other for years were posting pro IRGC shit
Yeah.
while I was posting how I'm worried because I haven't heard from my family in over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They were posting that shit to my face. And I went up to them and I said, hey, look, that's not what's happening. Like, I'm Iranian. I'm telling you this. They didn't believe me. It was too hard for them to believe me because they already had years of something they built in their brain and they made their whole personality that, right? And it was hard for them to actually hear from an Iranian like, hey, you're not helping us. You're actually
Yeah.
like hurting us right now.
Yeah.
So that's that's
And it's a really tricky one as well, because it's like the left of today is not what it meant 15, 20 years ago. It's a totally different
no,
thing.
it's not. It's totally different. It's become very, very different. It's kind of a lot of it has become scary. I used to think that I align with it. I don't even think I align with the right. I don't know what I align with anymore. But definitely I don't align with the left. Not in this state that it's in today. How violent it is, how hateful it is, how close-minded they are actually for people who preach a love for all and equality, how violent and actually kind of scary it's become.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's just my take on it.
yeah, it's like they'll celebrate the death of someone who was simply going to campuses
Yeah.
trying to have debates
That
with
actually,
people, and then
to be
mourning the
honest with
death of
you,
someone like Khamenei, who has the blood of
yeah,
millions on his
I
hands.
know. Crazy, crazy. I was never like a fan of Charlie Kirk. I never really cared much, but the left's reaction to his death got me to go and research. What does this guy do? What is he? And then the things that he said, I was like, they killed him for that? Just for talking? Just for debating? That's it? And they're celebrating it? They're doing dances to like they're doing like they were literally, I was talking the other day to someone saying like this is one of the things that the left scares me the most. They were doing like trends with his death. Like they were saying like do the Charlie Kirk, and they were doing like poses, morbid stuff, horrific shit. Like I don't want to be like, if a person made that joke to me in person, immediately that person's out of my life. That kind of stuff, it's scary. It's really scary. And you know what? At this rate, we don't want those people on our side anyway.
No,
Uh,
we don't.
no, thank you so much for exposing yourself. We don't want that kind of mentality supporting us, because damn, that's scary stuff.
It is
Degenerate
absolutely.
behavior, really degenerate behavior, to be honest with you. And then they're celebrating Khamenei's. I'm sorry, they're mourning Khamenei's death in the same breath. It's scary stuff.
They're
It really
naive.
shows
It's
where.
because, my friend Sina, I was talking to him, and he's from a band called From the Vast Land, great black metal band. They're also from Tehran. If you haven't heard them, please check them out.
Like about, I will.
And I was talking to Sina, because he's a very good friend of mine anyway, and he was like, he made a really good point. He said, I think the problem with a lot of these guys, I mean, there's a lot of fucking problems with them, as you said. It's the degenerate behavior being like the least of which. But he said that they seem to be under this impression that Khamenei and the likes of him and these mullahs, they liken him to the Pope. So they just assume it's like a religious figure. They don't realize that this is the same guy that call the shots for the oppression of millions of people. and the hell, you know, and one thing that we also don't talk about, Furuk, and I know again it's a bit morbid, but like we don't reflect enough on the actual rates of people who took their own lives in Iran because of these conditions. We talk about like, okay, all the gunshots and, you know, like people like in Esfahan, you know, like I know people who were literally saying that they saw with their own eyes that people were like opening fire on civilians on the streets as if it's nothing, and people are just like dropping like piles. Like that's one side of it. That's one aspect of the damage of the IRGC and the Islamic Republic on Iran and Iranian people. But then the other aspect of it is the ones that that basically did that, you know, like they're no
Yeah.
longer with us because of
Yeah.
those conditions which were placed upon them.
The IRGC has killed recently, yeah, not only the people that it directly killed in the streets, and then also went and kidnapped their bodies that were healing from the hospital, murdered them. It's still killing people that are imprisoned, and it's taking the best of them, like it's taking the most beautiful, the prodigies, the talented ones, the athletes, and killing them, especially so that it's on the news and it tortures all of us, especially those of us on the outside, so that we're constantly like feeling like there's nothing we can do, and it just restarts this hopeless cycle for us inside and outside Iran. But yeah, a lot of people are taking their own lives because they don't see any hope, and they have nothing. Not just that, but there's people that they're sick, they're not able to get their medicine, or they're taking half doses of the medication they're taking for their chronic illnesses, or they just they don't medicine that used to be, let's say, $30 is now $3,000 in their money. Like that is, you know what I mean? Like there are people that are dying because of that alone, because the country is in shambles. Nothing is working. The IRGC wants to survive more than it cares for its people to survive. And from so many different angles, the IRGC is still killing Iranians to this day. It's still killing people, maybe not in the street with guns, but yeah. And the suicide rate, we don't talk about it a lot. That's true. That's kind of sad actually that we don't even think about that. But yeah, the suicide rate is worse than it's ever been. Iran already had quite a bad suicide rate before, but
Yeah.
after this, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm saying, like, even the numbers, like, okay, we always refer to like the 45, 50,000, whatever in January, but like the real numbers are a lot higher than that
Yeah.
because of all
And
of
the
these
family
different
members of the
methods.
people that got killed. Think about
Yeah.
the family members of the people that are killed. A lot of them can't handle this anymore. A lot of the people that were murdered were the breadwinners of the family. They were the sole breadwinners of the family, the only person that was able to make any money. And now you can just imagine, you know, some people just can't survive after that.
How do you think we can recover from this?
I think everyone can. How can we like just all of us Iranians? Once
Yeah.
we get rid of the IRGC, I feel like Iranians are um like bodies that were held underwater for so long, just waiting to breathe. As soon as as soon as the head is out of the water, they're gonna breathe back in and everything's gonna go back to normal. Slowly, slowly. Once this IRGC, once these demonic people are not in power anymore, people inside Iran, they know what to do already. They already are uh, desperate for life, desperate for breath. As long as this is not there anymore, slowly everything goes back to itself. And us individually, we can help our friends, we can help our families, whatever we can do. That's how we can recover. Because we've never experienced anything like this before. You know, we can't really point at something in the past and say, well, it worked there, so it's gonna work now.
Well, actually,
That's kind of how
I'll give you a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel there. I think that if you really think about it, you know, there's always this impression when you speak to people on the streets about like the future of humanity, and everyone's always talking about, oh, how Iran and not just Iran, but everyone seems to be on this belief that humanity itself is somehow like held back. We're held in the dark ages. And I very much support that belief system, by the way. I do believe that humanity as a whole is, even though we're like the most technologically advanced that we've been, we're kind of, there's a block. There appears to be a block between us and our most highest potential of being free, of free will, of having agency of our own destiny, you know. And this is something that I paid a lot of attention to, actually, on the lyrics of the new album, you know, where the last line of the album is just before a Nietzsche quote. There's a line that says, "Under the flag of Zarathustra, sol in noctem," which in Latin means the sun in the night. And to me, I look at Iran and I look at the fact that, you know, you said that we've never dealt with something like this before. I think historically, actually, if you look at Iran, we were conquered by the Mongols, we were conquered by the Greeks, we were conquered by the Turks, we were conquered by the Arabs. We went through all of that, yet every single time we would spring back up and we would be at the top of the food chain. And I think that this is merely a spring that's trying to hold us down. And I think that Iran being free is humanity being free, because
Yeah.
of the amount of things that will come with it. Because you simply take out, you know, like the idea that the Islamic Republic happened is kind of like the bad ending for the entirety of the human race, as far as I'm concerned. Because if you look at the level of innovation that Iranians are able to offer, the location, the extreme importance of the location, whether you want to look at it historically, whether you want to look at it from the perspective of resources, whether you also want to look at it from the perspective of occult and spirituality and religion,
Oh yeah.
Iran is the most important location in the world. And you've got this absolutely dumb, completely backwards and
Totally.
primitive Islamic mafia in charge of it, you know, which is like, that to me is like, that's the bad ending, right? Not just for Iranians, but for everyone else. That's why I've
It
always said ad
is.
nauseum when I've done interviews on Times Radio and everywhere else. I'm always saying that, look, those guys that went to the streets and ate fucking bullets for freedom, they weren't doing that just for Iran to be free. They were doing that for the entire world to be free.
And one day the world will realize this too, you know? This is gonna go down in the history books. Maybe they don't realize it right now, but maybe 10, 20, 30 years from now, they'll look back and they'll see, wow, those people weren't just heroes for the Iranian people, but they made it so that our countries are safe too. Because an IRGC existing, it's not gonna be safe to any country. And also now they've been damaged. You know, they're gonna come back with revenge. You know, this is a rabid animal now. It was terrible before, but now it has that hatred and it's rabid and it's angry and it wants revenge more than ever. For the safety of the world, for the betterment of the world, the IRGC needs to be erased. And if anyone is against that for whatever reason, either they have no self-preservation skills, or they're just, again, plugging their ears, closing their eyes, and they just don't want to see reality as it is, as harsh as reality is.
Absolutely. And I think that a big part of the problem is also that people think just because it's in Iran, it stays in Iran. They don't realize the influence that exists over here. You know, like, I mean, a friend of mine, she's a journalist, and she literally had to move house because of the of harassments, like, to her mother, you know. And they were like making threats like, "Hey, we're watching you.
Yeah.
Here's your address. We know exactly where you live." And guess where she lives? She lives in London. That's
Yeah, oh, London is cooked.
yeah.
London is cooked. London is cooked. The whole UK is cooked at this point. That's what I said. And it's sad to say because I love the UK. I have so many great memories there. But what I'm seeing it happen, like the thing that's happening in the UK now, absolutely cooked. Like the IRGC's got its claws deep into that place, and it's devastating to see, you know, because so much culture, so much history there. And then you look at it now with the clause of IRGC in there, and Iranians, we notice we have these pattern recognitions. We can, because we grew up with this, we can see and it's gonna be bad. This is really terrible. Maybe in the future, the British people are going to want to immigrate to free Iran to live a normal life with the way things are going.
Not maybe, definitely. This actually,
Yeah.
for that point, I know we're kind of like, we're kind of
Joking, but it's not a joke.
it's not a
Yeah.
joke. No, no, this
No.
will happen. This will happen. They are
Yeah.
trying to ruin and destroy the West.
Yeah.
And that is why, like,
Because it's not enough for these types of people. It's not enough for them to coexist.
no,
They want to take over. It's not enough to coexist. Coexisting is right, but no, they want to kill you. They want to destroy you. You're not good enough. You're kafir. You're not good.
you're an infidel.
All of
Yep.
us are. You're an infidel. That's how. And you people are like, no, 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 that's not how they see. You're putting words in their mouth. No, we've actually listened to them. We've actually listened. We grew up with these people. We know what they believe. We've been like they've been whispering these things in our ears this time. Like, but you guys refuse to listen to it because that would be a horrifying future, right? If they actually believe that. So maybe it's a bit of ignorance. Maybe the UK they don't want to hear the warning because it's just too scary. But it's definitely the UK is quite cooked.
Honestly, you're fucking so right with that. And I wish we were both wrong, actually.
Me too. Me too.
And the thing with it is that also, unfortunately, due to the greater political landscape, when you observe geopolitics, everyone now, because of the situation that happened, because they don't have prior understanding of Iran's involvement in various different things and what they've done and what they've said, they see Iran as, oh, it's the underdog that got attacked and bullied for no reason. And this is such a fucking problem for the entirety of the Western world that, like that kind of, because when you look at something, like in this world, in life, anything that you can class as a victim, you're basically giving it a sort of an armor. You're passing
Mhm.
a shield to that thing, right?
Mhm.
And the moment you start throwing around words like phobic, that phobic means that the thing that you're discussing is a victim, therefore it needs to be sheltered and it needs to be
Mhm.
blanketed. Well, in the case of the Islamic Republic, that is the Trojan horse of the West. And Islam and anti-Western ideology is its weapon and poison, which it has very successfully spread through the world over here. And people are so concerned about, Western imperialism. And look, sure, I want you to historically look at things and be able to take accountability. But at the same time, what really angers me is, especially to those of us who actually left Iran, took all the risk, spent all of that time in, well, the best word,
Loneliness.
yeah, korbat.
Yeah.
That's a word
Ghurbat.
that
Something like
that
that, yeah.
that's a word that I feel like we deeply understand on a level that like no one else does. Like there's this mutual deep sense of melancholy and sorrow that all Iranians have because we're all away from our most favorite thing on earth, which is our home. And when they say home is where the heart is, where all of our hearts are there, and we're kept away from it, and we have no choice. We've had to make these sacrifices. But to then see that same poison spread over here and people kind of blanketing it and trying to protect the same thing that absolutely ruined all of our lives in a way. I mean, I don't identify as a victim. I don't think Iran has ruined my life as such. But at the same time, things could be different. They could be better. And I so sincerely wish that we could just kind of knock some sense into people and be like, hey, you know what? This is not how you think it is. This is not what your favorite TikTok
Yeah.
influencer who's getting paid behind the screens is telling you. This is a dangerous
And there's only
situation.
so much you can do. You're absolutely right. There's only so much you can do to convince these people, but at the end of the day, you can't what I learned the hard way is you can't really change people's minds when they've really made up their mind. So at this point, I think like this, I don't care anymore. If people are not going to support me, they can go fuck themselves. If they're not going to listen to Iranians, again, they can piss off somewhere else and just, I don't care anymore. I'm going to focus on what I can do to help free my country in the little way that I can. Every single one of us, there's so many of us Iranians in the diaspora, and there's 90 million people inside Iran that want this regime gone. Maybe a little bit less, but so many of us. We don't need other people to believe us, understand us, feel bad for us. We don't need that. And you know, we in the beginning we thought that if we come to the world, I thought that if I come to the world and say, "Oh my God, guys, this is happening. This is happening." I wouldn't have so many people being like, "No, that's not happening." Actually, let me tell you what's happening in your own country. This person can't even point out Tehran on a fucking map. So at this point, like, I honestly, I don't care. Maybe it's not good to say, but I really don't care what people believe or how they perceive it or how they think. Sometimes they even try to come up to me and like discuss things with me, and I know that their opinions are shit. I just, you know, when you just have no energy or like smile and nod your head just so that they can yap and leave. I do what I can on my platform. I inform the people that matter to me what's happening. The rest of the people, if they don't want to see it, they won't see it. You know, it's if they've made up their mind about something, uh, it seems like they just, if they're so set on that, they're not going to change their minds. And it doesn't make a difference too, if you think about it. They're not going to hold us back. You know, Sally watching CNN with her opinions and coming and telling me that I'm, you know, so horrible for celebrating my country being bombed, as she says, doesn't really make a difference in the outcome of what we want and what we're going to have, you know, no matter what. So it's just, we have to, I feel like at this point we have to kind of stop caring about how people, like what people think, because it's kind of irrelevant now.
No, look, beautifully said, and I totally agree with you. And
We like to inform though. We should, you know what? We should be very relentless online. We should be just as relentless as the pro-Palestine people. Do you know what I mean? We should just be, as someone actually says, this is not, I didn't say this, but someone said we need to be just as annoying as the pro-Palestine people. You need to be just as loud. You know, we should take up the space that is there for us to take, to share what is happening, the reality of what is happening. And people are already doing that beautifully. Like people on Iranian creators are already sharing the truth beautifully on their platforms in English and Farsi. And do you know what I mean? Like we're already doing that, and we should. If IRGC is going to fund all of these influencers to go to Tehran and lie to their audience, we are allowed to also be loud and tell our truth. But if then people come and like argue with you, it's okay. It doesn't matter. You've said your truth. You've taken up that space, and just do what you can, you know. I feel like I spent a lot of time feeling like brokenhearted because people just wouldn't listen or it wouldn't change their mind, but it's not my place to do that.
I think every little bit that we do helps, you know, and I think just being honest and authentic about it is a big part of it. And you know what? I'll be totally honest with you. This is like I literally, as I said to you earlier, I feel like I'm getting so much of like my own thoughts echoed back at me in this conversation, you know, which honestly,
I'm not giving you any challenges. I'm sorry. I'm not giving you any challenges.
It's literally like listening to a female version of myself, to be honest with you, you know. And then
Sorry.
it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, like I don't, you know, and it's not a situation I want to take lightly at all, but like it's actually very it's heartwarming, you know, like this is therapeutic for me to even just talk about it, you know. And I think that the way I also see it is that the United Kingdom, with everything like historically looking at it, with everything that's you know, all of its involvements with Iran in the past and all of those things, and all of the unfortunate fucking directions that it's taking right now, I do feel a degree of responsibility towards this country, and I want to save it from ever falling into the hands of the same kind of fucking animals, you know. And I think that we can still, even on a local level, having some degree of different support for politics and things like that. I think every little bit really
Oh yeah,
counts, you know, because Iran is
absolutely.
not something that's going to get sorted just inside Iran. You know, this is a worldwide battle
Mm.
of good and evil, exactly
Oh yeah.
the way, interestingly enough, exactly in the same way that is depicted in Zoroastrianism. We're seeing it.
Actually, yeah.
We're seeing it
We're
play
seeing it.
out.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Isn't that crazy? It's like yeah, and I was just saying this earlier too, not just that with Zoroastrianism, but everything that's happening right now, it's I don't know how we've all grown up we all grew up reading fantasy books
Yeah.
and we can pick up good and evil, right? We know what good and evil looks like. And now it's happening in the world. Like what happened in January to Iranians, that is horrific stuff. That's like we thought that they couldn't be more evil than they are, and they just proved us wrong. I've read so much fantasy and shit like this. I never thought of the amount of evil that they could do. Like they were just almost creative. IRGC is almost too creative with how evil they are and how disgusting their level of evilness can be.
Yeah.
And the whole world is seeing this too. But a lot of people are not able to pick up still on the evil and the good, you know? So
Mm.
that kind of makes me think maybe those people might actually be on the bad side. Maybe they genuinely this is how they think. Maybe genuinely those people are not good people. The people that keep trying to push against us and kind of just say, "Oh no, that's not what is happening to Iranian people." Maybe those people are actually evil
Mm.
because it's in front of you. You're being told these people are doing these things to us and you're still not seeing that?
Yeah.
How?
I
How are
think
you still on
it's,
their side?
you know, I think it's Farouk, to be honest with you, I think it goes back to the point I made earlier about information, and people base their identity on the information that they've been given. Because I like to be completely honest with you, I I'll actually the way I look at it, I don't even think they're evil. I don't think they're evil because they could easily say the same about us. But I think the problem with it is that their information is not complete.
Mhm.
They're they've been offered a version of the truth that is different to the people who actually lived it. And I think that that doesn't necessarily make them evil. They probably, in their own minds, think that they're doing the right thing. And that's the problem. That's the problem. You know, it's the lack of information, because I feel like I'm a big proponent of truth in general. And this is why I'm such a huge advocate for free speech in general. And I like to fucking flex that muscle on this podcast as much as I can.
As you should.
Because, yes, just because I feel that if every human on earth had access to the full truth, pretty much most everyone would come to the same conclusion. I do believe that.
But access to truth in this day and age, we all have these in our hands, you know? How much
Mm.
more truth can you possibly get? And also in my case, what I say because I even went out of my way to show some of these people actual footage, proof of what is going on, and still they refuse to hear our side or see our side. So that those are the people that I'm thinking, oh, maybe they might just maybe they might be actually not very good people. They
Mm.
are given all of this information, both sides, you know? Um, nowadays, the information is out there. You just have to, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But then again, to a
It's
lot
not
of
like
people,
echo
it's,
chambers, right? Like if you're in an echo
yeah,
chamber and your entire personality is built upon, you know, supporting a terrorist group, and the sugar daddy of that terrorist group happens to be the IRGC. So it
yeah,
doesn't really align with their, you know, what they've built their entire personality and world around.
it is. But you also have to understand that that phone in the hand, it's not all of the information. Everyone gets specific
Mhm.
algorithm, and that
That's true.
algorithm, when it's
That's true.
filled and funded by specific organizations who literally want to see the world as we know it destroyed,
Yep.
then of course they're going to end up thinking a certain way, you know.
That's
So this
true.
is why I'm
That's
saying that
true.
it's good to have a bit of compassion for your enemies,
Yeah.
you know, and
A little bit, yeah, just a little bit.
just a little bit,
Just
you
a bit.
know. Yeah,
And
yeah.
every day it's getting smaller and smaller, to be honest with you.
Unfortunately, it is. Unfortunately, it is, and I really, really fear for the safety of the Western world, you know, and that's why, you know, like as far as my own policies are concerned, it's like you have to understand, you know, like having certain beliefs and ideas, you know, that doesn't make you fucking racist or like a bigot. You know, this is the policies, if anything, should be solution driven. And
Mhm.
when you've seen the full picture, when you see where certain ideologies lead to, when you see the certain impacts of some of these religions, well, I say some of these religions, why the fuck am I being vague? I'm talking about Islam. Let's be very,
There
very
you go. What
particular
some
here.
of these religions
Yeah.
have you ever seen honor killings happening by the Jews? No. Have you ever seen a mass shooting done by a Jewish person? No. It's, you know, we're talking about Islam here. Something that we have experience with, by the way. So don't come at us with Islamophobic. We're, if anything, we are allowed to criticize a
Yeah.
religion that destroyed our country and destroyed our lives.
Yeah. And if we don't do something about it, it'll do the same to here very soon. Okay. And
Yep.
also, let's clarify one thing: violence is not the answer here. Policies are.
No.
Policies are the
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Violence is just what the other side knows how to do. We can't react the same way as them. Then we're just as bad as them, you know?
What a great point. I'm gonna remember that line. I'm
Yeah.
gonna remember that line. Yes.
Yeah.
Furuk, honestly, what a fucking fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for
Thank you
this.
so much. Thank
I
you
really
so
appreciate
much. I
it.
hope we do this again. That was super fun.
I would love to do it again. And you know what? Everything that we said, like, you know, all of that aside, you know, hopefully this is educational and informational for people. People are, look, I'm a free speech guy. Everyone who is hearing me utter these words is absolutely more than entitled and should be entitled to make up their own mind and do their own research and uh, make up their own opinions about this. Okay. And look, the comment section's fucking open, you know, like come at me, like you know, like wherever it
Come at
is, like
me.
I'm open to that, you know, because I think that's the only way we actually progress and get better. But you know what? Just on a personal note, all of that aside, it's been therapeutic for me to have this conversation with you
Aw,
because
thank you so
it's
much.
nice
I'm really
to,
happy to hear that.
yeah, because it's nice to know, you know, like I think for us, it's nice to be reminded you're kind of not on your own. Like it's not us
No,
versus
you're
the
not.
world, even
No,
though a lot of times it
absolutely.
feels that way. We're not on our own,
Yeah.
and it's refreshing
No.
to be reminded of that in this sense.
Of course. I'm so happy to hear that. That's wonderful. I'm really happy to hear that. And yeah, we do need to rely a lot on each other. And one of the, especially with Iranians in the diaspora, you do sometimes feel alone because all your family is back home and you're seeing everything that's happening behind glass. You know, there's a sense of desperation that comes with it. So whenever you feel alone, just honestly reach out to some of your Persian friends and just say something. Trust me, it's we're all gonna have the same emotion as you, you know? So yeah, it's been therapeutic indeed.
Yes, amazing. Look, thank you so much. Um,
Thank you.
so for anyone who wants to support you, if they go to the link in description and check out the support our guest section, all of your links like link trees and even like
That's
YouTube
perfect.
channel, Instagram, all of
Thank
that
you
is
so
gonna be there.
much. Thank
Um,
you so much. Thank you.
honestly, it's my pleasure. Thank you. And to
Thank you
everyone who
so much.
listened to this one, hope you guys found it educational, informational. Hope you found it useful. And yeah, just keep your eyes open. We'll see you on the next episode. Welcome to Iblis Manifestations.